We are the change agents paving the way. Time to heal our family, start today.
Hi, welcome to the Negatives to Positive Show. I have my good friend Mike Owens, one of my change agents, and we're here, and he's also a fellow Marine. And we're here to talk about a couple of topics, and one of them is dear to his heart, and he shared some things with me. I thought we needed to talk about it. And Mike, give him a little spiel about yourself, what you do, and what you plan on doing, and then we'll jump right into it.
Well, as we were talking about earlier, got a lot of ideas, so I'm doing a bunch of stuff. So right now I'm working full-time as a rep pay investigator, making sure people aren't defrauding people with disabilities and everything. Mm-hmm. And then
that's your camera right there, Mike.
Okay. I'm starting TTG, which is a sporting goods company. I'm starting to sell basketballs, bags, and an air pump, bundled all into one. Mm-hmm. So I'll be launching that next month. I'm also on the alumni council at Georgia State University, the Andrew Young School. Mm-hmm. We're going to start having a podcast too. So
is that right?
Yep.
And he's a wonderful entrepreneur, and he's my coach in my marketing. That's what I called you the other night, right?
Yep.
One thing I said about being a good man, you have to be teachable and lovable and have integrity. And working with Mike, we get to illustrate that because whenever we make a mistake, it's right there on the table, and we will fix it. That's the integrity part. But I am teachable because I don't know everything. And when he offered to help me, that meant a lot to me, Mike. And that's why I'm here right now. So one of the things you want to talk about is it's a parenting thing, right?
Absolutely.
So Mike's got young kids. How many you have?
I have 4. I have a stepson. I have a 9-year-old daughter. A 9-year-old daughter. I have a 4-year-old daughter, and I have a 3-week-old daughter.
Okay. Yes. So what's her name?
Mariah.
Okay. Yep. So we're going to work on that camera right there. So I have 7 kids. I'm not going to run through all the names. But Mike said something significant tonight. He says he wanted to discuss about planning for his kids. What does that look like?
Yep. So one of the first things I did when Isabel was born, because she's my daughter.
Yes.
I got a bank account set up for her. It's called a custodial account. So any given time, anytime I have extra money, I put it in there, and I have an allotment with my job that automatically puts money in there.
Now, how old is she?
She's 9.
And how long you've had that in place?
I've had that in place since 2016, since she was born.
Okay, wow. So that's a significant amount adding up to, and does she know about it now?
She kind of knows about it, but she doesn't know too much about it. So I have stipulations on how she gets that money, and I also have a savings account for her that she'll get when she becomes a teenager.
Okay, so when you're going to tell her that this is what it looks like every month? Are you not going to tell her that, or are you just going to wait till it matures and then she's there and then she knows it?
I'm not going to tell her about it.
Really? Why not tell her?
Because I don't want her to be dependent on it.
Okay, got you.
I want her to actually thrive before she gets it. Okay. That's the point. So when I started life as an adult, I didn't have a nest egg. I didn't have anything to start with.
Yes.
So that's why I wanted to create for her something that
so when I look at my life, and he was talking about, we didn't do that. We didn't do that when we were coming up. No. It wasn't even a thought because the majority of my kids were not planned. Mm-hmm. And when your children are not planned, what you're really saying is, I am going to go through life and just wing it, and these children are a part of my winging it. That's what happens. Now, so what's different now is those things he's doing now that we're setting up for my grandsons. I only have grandsons. I have 8 grandsons. And one's on his way. His name is Rico. We'll be seeing Rico in July. Is that it's never too late, Mike? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's never too late.
So I was arguing back and forth that at some points in life, some things are too late. But I'm open to be proven wrong. But when I wanted my children to change their lives, I didn't go to my children about changing their lives. I changed my life. When I changed my life, they saw it was very doable to make changes and add things on to them. Mm-hmm. But I didn't have the planning. So now this is what the after work looks like, is the idea of what can I do to help them to be greater people. And I figured out that if I was a greater person, it would make sure, it would model for them exactly what I want in their life. And that's how I see it. But you got a jump start on it for that, and Mariah.
Yep.
And so all your plans, there's a greater chance they're going to come true.
Yeah, I hope so. I've mapped out their life. My stepson mapped out his life. I mapped out my daughter's life from now until they get married.
How old is the stepson?
He's 17 in July.
And when did you help him map his life out?
I did that actually when I was doing a Change Agent workshop.
So he took to it?
He took to it. I don't know if he's actually going to do it.
Okay.
He wrote it down.
Yeah.
And we discussed it. But, it's up to him to.
So something I learned
more.
about parenting is when you want your children to do something, you want them to be certain things. You know what I figured out? I just want to show you the skeletons to success. And if I show you the skeleton, then you can just do what you're going to do. No matter where you're going to do it, you're going to take that skeleton and you're going to put your parts of your life and your plan onto that skeleton, and you're going to be successful. And I've seen where parents wanted their sons to be basketball players or baseball players, and they put them in all those sports. And then when it comes time to graduate high school, they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
They don't want to do it anymore. So now your feelings are hurt because you poured emotions in the plan for that child, and the child really didn't want that. And I think that's the part where we tend to want to vicariously live through our children.
Yeah.
And we want things for our children, but we really didn't ask the children if that's what they wanted.
So the plan is for the kids.
Yes.
It's not going to involve you once they get 18.
Right.
You're done at that point. So what I figured is if I have a map for them, now they have some type of roadmap.
Yes.
Now with the roadmap, you may take a detour, but you still have a roadmap.
Absolutely.
So there's something there.
When I was in the 10th grade, I decided to be a Marine. I was with my ROTC instructor. He says, hey, if you if you join the Marine Corps, you can retire at 38 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Sounds like a good deal.
I bought into the idea. Now, let's talk about roadmap. My first tour, I did 4 years, and then I got out and I went home. Then immediately, probably about 15 days after I get back to Gary, Indiana, I knew I made a mistake.
Yeah.
I knew I got off of my plan. I knew I was off my roadmap. And so I joined the reserves. And in the reserves, I changed my MOS because I wanted to be marketable the next time I step out.
Yeah.
So that's why I had MOS after MOS after MOS, because my plan was to be marketable when I get out after my 20 years. So what happened was I had to add some years on to my plan, and I ended up retiring at 41.
Okay.
So that was a part of the plan, and it really worked out. I would hate to say, I got to the end. Now it's not a good thing. I got to the end. It was a struggle at the end in the last 3 years, but by the time I was done, I'm looking at myself right now. Even though the pressures of being a Marine, the pressures of being married, the pressures of the pressure of bad decisions, they all came to a point in 2008. But that was like in just enough time to drop my papers for retirement. And that's what I did. So the planning did work for me, and I'm sure it's going to work for your kids, because once we understand the skeleton is the part of the success, it's not what you choose. It's not the occupation you choose. It's not the jobs you choose, not the lifestyle you choose. Success is success. So I know I only had you for a few minutes, and I appreciate it. Let me ask you a question. So you said you did it while we were doing the Change Agent program.
Yep.
Did that inspire you, like when we got to Love and Legacy? Okay, tell them about that.
Well, I was noticing that I did not plan it out. Like I have plans, but I didn't tell him about it. I didn't encourage him to actually have a plan. Like you would tell your kids, you always tell your kids, hey, you need to think about what you want to do when you're older. But now it comes to a certain point where your leadership has to kick in,
Yeah.
and you have to say, hey, this is the plan. So now, if you leave it up to them for so much, they're going to keep putting it off and putting it off.
Yeah.
But if you say, hey, this is our plan, this is what we're going to do. Now, once they get of age where they're 18 and they're like, okay, I really like this or I don't like that, that's fine. We still have a roadmap.
Absolutely. So, in the act of, this is how you plan it. This is your destination, which I always talk about your destination. I'm in my destination right now. I have a place to live. I have health insurance, and I have food to eat. That was my destination. And that was according to my overarching plan, was how can I stay in the realm of my destination? I've done that. So when I talk to young people, you have to understand no matter what you do, it's all about what happens when you're no longer able to work and where you're going to be. Because the shelters are full with people who had no plans. Let me say it again. The shelter is full with people who had no plans. And that's why we need to do this. And that's why I created the change agents, to have that particular part of the conversation. And I'm glad it resonated with you because he went home and applied it. So the purpose of the change agents is to have men gather together and have a conversation about any and everything. Even though I had some topics on the table, but the idea is for us to talk together about it and then move around and find a way to utilize what we got. Because life is about gathering lessons and applying them as soon as possible. That's how I see it.
Absolutely.
And if you don't do it, I'm not going to say, either learn your lesson or live your lesson. Isn't that what I said earlier?
Yep.
Either learn your lesson or live your lesson. That means you will see it again, and you have an opportunity to come up with a rule, policy, or some type of guideline that is not going to affect you. Because if it affects you as a leader, it will affect everybody under your charge.
Yep. And just going back to what I planned for my daughter is we were like, okay, you're going to go to Georgia State.
Really?
I went there.
Yeah.
You're going to play softball or some other sport, and you're going to have straight A's.
Oh, you talking about Mariah?
No,
Isabel. I was like, damn.
No, so this year she pretty much has straight A's, and she played softball for the first time. She loves it, and she talks about getting better. So, we've been practicing.
Yes.
Because we have a field right across the street from the house, so we've been practicing, and she's really taken to it. So, hopefully it turns out good.
Absolutely. But
only time will tell.
But we always need a plan, and teaching the kids how to plan is just as important as coming up with a plan for them, because once they become a part of the process, they can repeat it.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of looking for you to do it. So, hey, I only had a few minutes with Mike, and I appreciate you stopping by. This is one of my change agents. If you want to know where we're at negative-to-positive-inc.com. Become a change agent. Hey, all it's going to do is going to make your family greater.
Absolutely.
All right.
And we will be on social media. Oh, we are on social media.
Yes. So what Mike is teaching me, and I'm glad you brought it to the table, is he's teaching me to understand how to do my own social media. And I couldn't have did it without him, because I would have just paid somebody to do it. But at some point, you have to learn what you want and then find a way to apply it. But then again, you also have to have a circle of people around you that are very capable. If not, me and Mike would have sat here and watched YouTube all day till we figured it out. Absolutely. So hoorah for those Marines out there who keep leaning forward. So we're going to have to go, but I appreciate you coming by, Mike.
Absolutely.
This has been powerful. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, you guys have a powerful day. Remember, check me out, Paul Posey, on YouTube. You can find me on TikTok. Look for the words change agent, negative to positive, and just watch us to have more great things happening real soon. Peace.
We are the change agents paving the way. Time to heal our family, start today. No one has come to save us, we hold the key. Our families need us, strong and free.